happy day. The topic today I am going to teach you is about the radio medium. So, as a general idea about what is radio and what is its nature and how it is working and what are the modes in which we transmit the radio communication and the model followed in our country. So, this is the gist of the lecture today. We all know that radio is an audio medium where the programs are designed in such a way that you listen to the content. So, all the elements are based on only the sound, voice and words. So, based on that, the nature of the medium can be explained using these terms. The first one is oral medium. As I said earlier, radio is meant for the ear. So, the writer has to be very careful in devising the message because the listeners only have the audio medium to receive the communication. And the next one is background medium. So, like any other medium, the listeners, so the next element is background medium, which says that the listeners can multi-talently work and listen to the program. So, for example, in television, you need to sit and receive the information since it is attached with both audio and visual medium. Radio is like completely with audio where you can carry on with your work and listen to the content. So, in this case, there is a gap where the listener might miss the information. So, it is the responsibility of the producer or the writer to bring the content into the forefront because the medium is in the background while the listener is on the go. The next one is, it's a personal medium. So, radio is always a personal medium because it's one-to-one medium. The messages are addressed to one person so that the element and the other informations involved in the program will be having a personal touch. So, the next element is universal medium. So, the radio is a universal medium because it has the maximum reach to the audience because being a sound medium, being a accessible medium, being a cheapest form of medium and being a mobile medium, it has a wider reach. And the next thing which I am going to detail now is about the advantages of radio being a medium of communication. Affordability. So, it is very accessible. As I said earlier, it is the cheapest form of medium, anybody can access it and the language is also in an understanding way. Accessibility, radio has the maximum accessibility because it can reach even the remotest areas. For example, during the war times, the military base receives all the informations through the radio transmitters. This is the best example we can say that because the military camps are the basements where all other forms of communications are banned. The next is, it transcends the limits of place and time. So, since radio is an audio medium, the words designed by the writer makes the people visualize what is being given as a spoken word. So, it takes the listener to the remote areas, it has the capacity to take the listener to a space, it has the capacity to bring the listener to a valley in the Kashmir through the medium of words. And the next advantage is it creates active audience. The words used by the scriptwriter or the radio program producer stimulates the creative thinking of the listener and it allows the listeners to imagine to any extent which is not possible in any other medium. For example, in television medium, it is restricted in the form of audio and visual where you sit in a place and listen to what is given to you. On the other hand, radio is a medium where only words are given to you. You are in a mobile and you have the advantage of thinking beyond your limits. And the next topic is the technologies used in radio broadcasting and reception. The basic way of sending information through radio medium is by amplitude modulation. So, the amplitude modulation gives a wider reach for the radio signals. It crosses the atmosphere of the earth and bounces the information to the audience. As the amplitude modulation signals travel a longer distance, the quality of the sound will have a lesser reach. The next one is frequency modulation. The FM stations use the frequency modulation to transmit their messages or programs. These frequency modulations work within a limited space, and the frequency modulation has a higher quality of sound or signal because the current used in the frequency modulation can be adjusted according to the movement of the signals. And most of the private channels, that is the FM channels, use FM modulation for their message transmission. Next one is analog modulation. Analog modulation is the cheapest way of transmitting radio signals. Since we are living in the digital age, the analog modulation is getting diluted, and they also use either amplitude modulation or frequency modulation for sending their signals to the audience. The next technology used in radio transmission is digital audio broadcasting, which is also called as digital radio and high definition radio. Here the analog signal is converted into digital signal, and only the FM channels use this because of their short wavelength modulations. The next technology is satellite technology. It is a subscriber based radio service through satellites, and it can be received in a wider geographical area. And the two major things which I have to highlight is, for this satellite technology, it requires access to a commercial satellite for the signal propagation, and also the subscription is required from the end users. The example which I can give you is the Sirius satellite radio, which is operating in US and Canada, and it is also accessible in India because it is a satellite technology which can be digitally transmitted throughout the world. The next one is DTH, that is direct to home, and it is also called as digital broadcasting system. Here the transmission from the satellite takes place through dish antenna fixed in the terrace, and here geostationary satellites are used for transmission from the broadcasting channel to the audience. So geostationary satellites are the satellites which is put it in the outer atmosphere of the earth, and it is constant in one position and observing the oceanography, the weather traveling, weather forecasting of the earth. So this satellite is used for communicating the radio signals as well. It was first proposed in India in 1996, but it was rejected due to certain rules and policy issues, and later it was accessed in the year 2001. And DTH is operated by both public and private sectors. So currently we have DD Direct Plus, which is a public sector DTH radio, and it is run by the Indian government, and Airtel Digital TV and Videocon D2H is a private sector owned DTH operations. The next technology used is the internet radio, the technology by which audio is streamed and heard over the internet. Here we have a continuous stream of audio without interruptions, and you cannot pause or rewind the broadcast. It functions very similar to the traditional broadcast system. The first internet radio was proposed by Carl Malmuth in 1993. So, the advantage of using the internet radio is the people away from our country can access the programs which is produced in their motherland, and it gives a personal touch to them. And this is the technology which is used for accessing the content. So, all the other technologies we saw earlier was for transmitting and receiving, and this mobile technology is meant for only for the end users. So, to receive the FM channels, recently all the broadcasting channels, both the private and public sectors, have designed their own apps which is available on any digital mobile devices. And the next form of radio communication is ham, which is called as Help All Mankind, which is also called as an amateur way of communicating radio messages. The single person will be the broadcaster, and it can be received only through another ham equipment. The ham radio users have to follow certain policies and regulations. The first one is the age criteria, where there should be at least 12 years crossed, and they need to take up a quality or a qualification exam which is conducted by the Ministry of Communication and Information Technology. And when you pass the exams, you will be given a call list. According to that, you will be using the devices for communicating among the ham users. And the main advantage of using ham is that during disasters, maybe a man-made disaster or a natural disaster, the ham users can communicate with people across the borders and receive aids from them. And the next topic we are going to see today is the model of radio used in India. So, in India, radio was set up by the British government, and it was run under the British government, and later on when we got independence, the radio medium was taken over by the Indian government, and they were funding the radio broadcasters to run their programs for the benefit of the people. And that was called as Public Service Broadcasting System in India. And it was the initial model of radio in India, and the objective was to serve people through radio. And the current public broadcasting system we have in India is All India Radio. And the next form of broadcasting in India is the private broadcasting. So, most of the FM channels which is run by the private sectors, for example like Radio Mirchi or Big FM. So, all these are few examples which is run by the private sectors or the private owners, and they mostly use the signals for commercial broadcasting. But in public service broadcasting, they use it for the service of the people, and for private broadcasting, it is used for the commercialization of the broadcasting, that is the business attitude towards the broadcasting. Then comes the community radio. So, the community radio, the concept is reaching the medium to the grassroots and also make them participate in the content formation and execution of the program. So, that is why we call community radio as the accessible medium and as a inclusive medium for the masses. And it is a non-profit venture, and the main cause is also to serve the community to which the community radio is targeting. And mostly the community radio is run by educational institutions, NGOs and communities concentrating on developmental work. And the next form is internet radio. So, internet radio is the continuous way of accessing radio through the digital platform or streaming the content for the audience through the digital platforms. So, there are two ways of internet radio. One is the regular internet radio where you get uploaded of the regular programs which is aired by the All India Radio or by the private FM channels, and the other one is the exclusive internet radio which is targeting the exclusive audience. And the other form of radio in India is the satellite radio which is run by the private sectors with the help of the satellite communication radars. Thank you.